Hi, this is Ayce with Contessera Pageantry. We have a very special guest with us today. But before we begin, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that we can continue to bring content like this to beauty pageant lovers all over the world. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce the former Miss Universe Philippines of Southern California, Jet Hammond.
Hi, Ayce.
Hi,
It's
Janet.
so nice to be here.
It's so nice to be here.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm very good, actually. Thanks for asking. It's pageant season again, so
It is pageant season.
of course I'm preparing, getting ready.
Ooh, okay, that's more to come.
Right, there's more to come for sure. But yeah, I am just grateful to be here, and thanks for inviting me and having the time to invite me in the studio.
Thank you for joining us. So we'd love to get to know you a little bit more. So can you tell us about your pageant journey and how you got to where you are today?
Absolutely. Well, hello, universe. Again, I'm Jet Hammond. I am a proud Filipina with Spanish, British, and Chinese roots. I was born and raised in the Philippines, but I immigrated to the United States at the age of 17. I am not new to pageantry. In fact, I grew up with two of my siblings being able to represent the Philippines internationally. One is Miss World Philippines and one Miss Intercontinental Philippines. But I've also had a fair share of my own pageant experience. I won the title of Miss Philippines USA back in 2018. And just last year, I've had the honor to represent the beautiful Filipino community of Southern California at Miss Universe Philippines. And I am thrilled, Ayce, to, continue this journey or maybe start a new chapter here in the US, right? Of competing for Miss Utah USA in July. And you heard it first here on this channel.
Wow.
But I think aside from pageantry, I wear many hats. I am a healthcare entrepreneur, particularly in end-of-life care and health tech, which I think is very much aligned with my advocacy of healthcare inclusivity and accessibility. And I am just so fulfilled to be in that space where I get to live my life's mission and purpose, which I think is why I am very fervent to mentorship. I mentor young women and girls so that they too may find their light and their life's purpose and mission as well.
Very cool. So just to rewind a little bit, you talked about participating in Miss Universe Philippines last year. Can you tell us more about that experience? I know the Philippines just crowned their Miss Universe Philippines, Atisa Manala.
Yeah.
And she's been such such a big hit with the audiences and with pageant lovers. So did you have a chance to meet her, and what was that experience like?
Absolutely. I mean, I competed with her last year. So we were together for about 3 to 4 months, competing in the same pageant. And I got to know her really well. She does give her best, her all. She's very committed into getting the crown. And when she got the crown this year, I'm very happy for her. And she's also a very down-to-earth person. She was already a Miss International first runner-up, yet she still connects with every single one of us, I would have to say, just like a regular person. And so I'm very, very happy for her.
That's so great to hear. And I know you participated in pageants in the U.S. You were going to participate in a pageant in the U.S., but what has that kind of difference been participating in the U.S. versus the Philippines?
It's a different beast. And that goes for both. I feel like U.S. and Philippines are both, a very big pageant in the universe system. It's both awaited, everyone follows both of the pageants. The Philippines, I would have to say, it's always been a childhood dream, given that both of my sisters have represented the Philippines, internationally. But I think as I grew older, being able to move to the United States, it just, we create new dreams for ourselves, right? And I think the USA is something that I never could have imagined that I would do. And so to be able to get on this track of, through Miss Utah and eventually the hopes of getting to Miss USA, it's like going back and talking to that little Jet and saying, look how far you've come. You can achieve things that are far beyond your imagination. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, and I'm so determined to get to that point and to win that crown so that we could get to Miss USA.
We're rooting for you. So
Thank
we
you.
also interviewed another Miss USA, but that track, so Miss USA, eventually leads to Miss Universe, right?
Exactly.
Eventually. So is that where your kind of heart is headed to? That if you win Miss Utah, you win let's say Miss USA, is your track towards, the Miss Universe system?
Well, I always go for the gold. And of course, I think that is really, I wouldn't say the end goal, right? Because at the end of the day, everything that I do is just beyond Miss Universe itself, right? It's beyond the crown. It's beyond the title. It's beyond your 1-year reign.
Yeah.
It's what you get to do even after that reign. And to me, it's just a platform, but it's still up to you on how you continue making a difference in the universe and how you create impact. And so, yes, ultimately, I would want to get to Miss Universe so that I could do exactly just that.
That's so good to hear. That's, I think when we talk to a lot of beauty pageant contestants, they see this as kind of a platform, a way forward, not just the kind of end-all and be-all of their career. And it's so great to hear, because you've spoken a little bit about your advocacy, regarding healthcare. And so we want to explore that a little bit more as well, because advocacy, I think, it grounds a queen in their purpose. And so can you tell us about your advocacy and why it's so important to you?
Absolutely. Well, it all started from me growing up having the heart for entrepreneurship, right? And I always say healthcare is something that has chosen me, not the other way around. It's not something that I was just able to choose. But I think it's heavily influenced by my family and our situation back in the Philippines, where, we don't get much access to quality healthcare. But I still saw how much, my sisters, my mom has really served in that industry. And although I am not a nurse or a doctor myself, I was able to bridge, my skills of entrepreneurship to healthcare. And because of that, I found, my life's mission. And I realized that to truly work and make your advocacy relevant, it's important that it is something that you do, every day already. I think my knowledge with healthcare and the healthcare system particularly is a big thing in terms of how I advocate for inclusive and accessible healthcare. But more than that, last year I actually lost my father.
I'm so sorry.
Back in the Philippines. And I realize how different it is when you're on the other side of it. When you're the family, when you're the one grieving. Because at the end of the day, it's just not the treatments that they get. It's the compassion, right? The care, and not just for him, but the support to the families as well. And it had pained me because it's something that I fight for every single day for my patients here, and I was not able to give that to my father, So I knew this is something that has to be bigger than just my career or what I do in everyday life. And, it just strengthened my advocacy, and it put me in just the right direction, I would have to say.
Yeah, I've worked in healthcare as well, and I can see where you're coming from. Where I think when a lot of people hear healthcare, they think of the front line, the doctors, the physicians, the paramedics, but there is this kind of massive support staff, right?
Absolutely.
All of your administrators that kind of come in and they make sure that everything kind of runs, right? That they make sure that patient care is given, and if someone is kind of nearing end of life, that they get the health care and the love and the treatment that they deserve.
Absolutely. It truly is a collective effort. Yeah.
100%. It's healthcare is a behemoth, especially in the United States, and I'm sure around the world. And not everyone has equal access to healthcare. But to kind of hear your perspective and how it kind of hits so close to home,
right,
and what it means for you, that's something that is special, right? That's something that is like, I can tie myself to this because I have firsthand experience.
Yep.
And I have the will to help others. So very cool to hear.
Thank
Very
you.
cool
Thank
to hear.
you.
So kind of throughout this kind of pageant process and, finding your advocacy and finding your voice, what has there been a moment that's kind of really stuck out to you in terms of like, okay, this is why I want to do this and this is why I'm moving forward with this? Or has it been more of a collective, like you've had all these moments and now it's making sense that I'm standing back? So has there been one moment, or has it been more, I can see all these moments and how they've helped me?
In terms of healthcare?
In terms of healthcare, yeah.
Well, I think there was this one time where it all clicked to me. But after that, I continued to open my eyes in every single, positive thing that is, just came out from my work, right? I think, first, the fact that I am in end-of-life care, it's a very touchy subject, right? Not everyone talks about what I do. I mean, I own a hospice, and no one, it's really hard for people to talk about it, right? It's end of life. It's a very touchy subject, like I said earlier. But I think that no matter what stage your life, no matter what stage your life is, you deserve the right treatment and the right care, right? It doesn't stop from just being an adult, and then you get to 60s to 70s and no one wants to give the right care anymore, right? And I think in that space I found just the purpose to do that. And ever since that I was able, and we were able, me and my team, it's family business as well, to give them the comfort they deserve towards their end of life, give support to their families. Every single day that I get to hear from their families how grateful they are, it just strengthens why I am doing this, why I'm here in the first place, right? So I would say it's a combination of both, like having that one click of like, wow, this is what I can do, and hearing, all the positive things that comes with it, then it continues to, to build that feeling of being in the right place. Because I think sometimes the thing with life is one thing might excite you now, but if, the hype stops or, whatever, you just kind of forget what you're doing and then you get burnt out. So to me, I love that, every single day I get to work with different patients and their families, and always gives me that boost of why I'm doing this.
Yeah, because, aging, death, it's inevitable. It's something that we will all go through.
Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of us don't want to think about. But you kind of face it, every day through your work. And you make sure that, these people have comfort near the end of life. And so those pieces kind of come together for you.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right. Thank you, Janet. So we've gotten to know Janet, her advocacy, kind of what she's doing next. Now we're going to move on to our next section, right? So we call this our quick fire questions.
Okay.
And you can only answer yes, no, and maybe.
Okay.
And then at the end, we'll choose 2 or 3 questions that we'd love to hear your perspective on. And so
all right.
it'll be, we're going to test you in both ways. So we always find this section to be very illuminating, because you have to think fast, but then at the end, you're given your chance to explain, right?
Okay, sounds
It's
good.
not just one and done,
Okay.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so remember, yes, no, and maybe only, okay? Have you ever Googled yourself?
Yes.
Do you speak Tagalog or any Filipino dialects?
Wow.
Would you consider moving to the Philippines full time?
Maybe.
Do you believe social media should be regulated for mental health?
Yes.
Have you ever gone more than 3 days without your phone?
No.
Do you think healthcare is a right, not a privilege?
100% yes.
Would you ever give up your love life for a crown?
No.
Do you consider yourself more logical than emotional?
Maybe, because it depends on the situation.
Okay, then that's something we'll have to revisit.
Okay.
Is representation more important than winning?
Yes.
Have you ever second guessed joining a pageant?
Yes.
Okay. Should beauty queens speak out on political issues?
Yes.
Can women have it all? Career, family, and adventure.
If I can, then so can everyone else. So yes.
Is your dog the boss in your house?
Yes.
Have you ever failed at something and kept it private?
Yes.
Do you think pageants are evolving in the right direction?
Yes.
Have you ever been underestimated because of your looks?
Yes.
Would you consider running for public office in the future?
Maybe.
Do you still get nervous before going on stage?
No.
I like the confidence there. No.
No.
Do you believe mentorship is more powerful than competition?
Yes. Actually, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. Let's put it into maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
Is your advocacy rooted in personal experience?
Yes.
Okay. That was an easy one.
Yeah, we
right?
talked
That
about
was
it,
an easy
yeah.
one. Okay. All right. So, I think there are some questions here that I'd love to hear more about.
Okay. I think there's a few.
There's a few. There's a few. I think let's start bottom up.
Okay.
So I think you said maybe here.
Mm-hmm.
So do you believe mentorship is more powerful than competition? Was that a maybe?
It was a maybe.
It was a maybe,
I
okay.
said maybe because I think it depends on the type of person you are, right? Everybody learns differently. There's no one size fits all when it comes to learning, whether it be through mentorship, someone teaching you the ways, or maybe you're just a very competitive person that when you feel like there is some sort of competition, you strive to be a better person, right? And we have to accept that, again, there's no one size fits all when it comes to learning. You have to know which one fits better for you. And so that's a maybe.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you've had so many experiences with kind of beauty pageant queens, and you've kind of seen that difference in those girls, right?
Yeah. But not only in pageants, right?
Yeah.
I think just in life, like
Yeah.
even in school, like I've seen, I went to school with people who were very much like they thrive in a classroom setting where they learn from the teacher. But when it comes to other people, that if there's some sort of like a quiz bee or like a math marathon, then they just, show up like just a different person, right? And so that's what I was thinking. Like it's always going to be different.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. All right. And so I think our next question is, here we go. I love this question actually. Do you consider yourself more logical than emotional?
Well, I said maybe because,
maybe, yeah.
yes, because it depends. If it's a business thing, I am very logical. I'm a different animal when it comes to business. But when it comes to personal relationships and when it comes to my family, right, I'm very emotional. Like I would cry even before I start speaking my heart out. And so that's why I said maybe, because it's different in different situations.
I think so. I think that, yeah. I mean, I think when you're with family or when you're with people that you love, you kind of lead with your heart.
Absolutely.
Right? You make your decisions. It might not be logical, but if it helps the other person or if it helps yourself feel better, you make the emotional decision.
Absolutely.
So I'm with you there. Like I
Yeah.
completely understand,
Yeah.
right? There's times when you have to kind of buckle down.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Oh, I love this question actually. So you said yes here. I want to say yes. I remember this. And then the question was, have you ever second guessed joining a pageant? So why second guess? What was well, if you want to be specific or not, we can keep it general and broad, but why second guess?
Right. Well, I take on pageantry very seriously. I think I am just a person who won't do it just for the fun of it. It has to have a deeper purpose. And the reason why I second guessed is because at that moment, I really had to ask myself, is this something that would be purposeful still to you even after many attempts? I am a married woman. I'm an immigrant, and the reason why I got into pageantry is because of representation, right? And I had to assess, was like me being able to join Miss Universe Philippines, is that enough as it is? You know, and I figured that there's still so much work to be done. You know, you still have to be seen by those little girls who would hopefully get inspired by your journey. And so I just keep on going. But of course, it wasn't an easy decision. It takes a lot of time, effort, even finances to, you know, get into a pageant. So to me, it's a big decision that I have to make, and I just second guessed it.
Yeah, that's a good perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because I think you've touched on this in the beginning of our interview, where why am I doing this, right?
Exactly.
Like, I have an advocacy, you know, is this pageant the right platform for it? And not all pageants are the right platform, you know, for every advocacy, right? And you have to kind of make that self-sustained decision where, is this going to be where I can kind of speak on something that really means something to me?
Yes, and I think it goes even beyond what you're advocating for, right? At some point, we're also human beings. And so the years and the amount of preparation also could take a toll on us, you know, being in an industry where you're always seen, you know, by the public, you're being judged. Like, it's hard to be 100% okay with that. But I'm glad that, you know, I was able to really talk to myself and say, okay, yeah, we're doing this. We're not taking this lightly. As hard as it is, we'll do it again.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay.
And I kind of want to end on a fun question, because I think, why not? So you said yes. Is your dog the boss in your house? So what does that mean? What did you mean when you said yes?
Well, for one, I'm having a really painful back because I sleep with two of my dogs, me and my husband, and they just take up so much space. And not that it's a bad thing. I love, you know, my moments with my dogs. But I just realized, like, oh my gosh, like, they can't even talk or speak, but you just cave in to, like, whatever they want to do, right? And apparently my dogs could, I wouldn't say talk, but they make sounds whenever they want to, like, go out to the backyard to play or to go. And even if I'm doing something on my computer or working, then I would have to pause everything to take them out. So I would say that they have to be the boss because of that. Yeah.
Very cool. So not just man, but woman's best friend.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. All right. I think you did really great there. So we'll move on to our next section. And this one is, it's very special to me because it's always my favorite part of any pageant. And it's our Q&A portion.
Okay.
And so before we begin, how do you prepare for Q&A? What's your process like?
Right. Well, I do train for sure. I have an amazing team of coaches who prepares me. We meet every week, sometimes twice a week. But I also have found journaling to be, you know, an amazing tool to really just gather my thoughts. You can't forget reading the news or watching the news to make sure that you are well informed with the current events. So yeah, that's how I prepare.
Yeah, there's I think from you're saying, like, the journaling, there's a level of introspection, but always making sure that you understand what's going on in the world. Absolutely. So that you're well informed.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. So we have some questions here in our jar. I think our viewers have seen this before. And so this time, something special. These are kind of our own homegrown questions. And so they may have been asked, I don't know.
Okay.
But our producer helps us come up with these questions, okay? So you can choose from 3 questions. I'll read them, and he's got 30 seconds on the dot.
Oh, there's a time.
There's a timer. There's a timer.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So as much as we love hearing your kind of explanation, we want to keep it as, like, this is like a training ground for you as well.
Okay. I didn't expect there was a timer, but let's bring it on.
Okay. All right. So our first question. Okay. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Okay. how do you balance ambition with compassion in your career as a healthcare entrepreneur and a pageant queen?
I think that both ambition and compassion goes hand in hand, because in order to be a beauty queen, you need vision to lead and you need a heart to serve. And as an entrepreneur, I aim to change and build systems, but as a beauty queen, I aim to lift other people. And with that, I wake up every single day full of purpose, and I go to bed at night with peace, knowing that with what I do, I get to touch and transform lives along the way.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. All right. See, you have nothing to be concerned about.
No. Hopefully not. But let's see the next question.
Our next question for you.
We can't be complacent. Okay.
All right. Okay. Our next question. If you could change one thing about the current beauty pageant system, what would it be and why?
To me, it would have to be the strict citizenship requirements. And I've met so many beautiful, incredible women, immigrants, dreamers, or just women who don't have the right paperwork that could truly serve and have the heart to lead and is a true representation of a beauty queen. And I think, especially now, more relevant than ever, we need to have these people represent what pageantry really means. After all, it's not about restriction, it's about representation.
Beautiful. Very cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes.
I didn't know that was where something so procedural
Absolutely.
could prevent someone. Wow.
Yep, you would have to need your citizenship right. If you're joining the Philippines, you would have to get a Philippine passport, and if you're doing the USA system, then you would need a US citizenship.
Well, that's something I learned today. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so our last question.
Last question. Please be good. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So with your background in healthcare, what do you think is the biggest challenge in making medical care more accessible in underserved communities?
I've seen it both in the United States and when I served in the Philippines, the most marginalized communities there is. And I've seen that it all comes down to the lack of resources, whether it's financing, whether it's infrastructures or available treatments, or even lack of education and awareness. I think it needs a collective effort from the government, private companies, and even us individual people to find something that we could do, whether it be just spreading certain topics on social media. I think with that, we could change and challenge the healthcare system.
Yeah. And it's such a big topic.
Yeah.
Healthcare it's such a big topic to kind of...
Yes. Yes. And I was really surprised too, because, upon moving to the United States, I've always just thought everything is better, right?
Yeah.
But when I get to live it firsthand, I realize, oh wow, there's still so much to improve on, and there's still so much to challenge. And so I'm very happy to be in this space.
Very cool. Very cool. So these questions were, kind of healthcare related, and so spoke beautifully to who you are.
Thank you.
So that's great to hear. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to our last part of the interview. And we always ask our queens this. So what message or advice do you have for anyone aspiring to become a beauty queen?
I think it all comes down to having it as a dream bigger than yourself. I think when you have that sort of a dream, no amount of challenges, setbacks, or hardships could get in that way. You need to find your true purpose, why you're getting into it. It's not just about the title or the crown that, would be the main reason why you're doing this. This is a platform where you could create an impact for many people and use that to your advantage. There's a beautiful message and story I know as an individual, every individual has, and we would love to hear that. So if you're ever thinking of joining, please do, because we need more women rallying for, every single woman out there, and we need more women to lift each other up so that we could all rise together and rise stronger.
Beautiful. Yeah. No, it's there will always be kind of the next generation, and I'm so glad to hear that you're wanting to pull them up as well with you, right? That time and that dedication that takes, as you spent all these years kind of preparing, and so many women can learn from that, right?
Yes.
As someone who advocates in this space. So very cool to hear.
Thank you.
Very cool to hear. So before we get to kind of our last part, I keep saying that.
I thought that was the last. Okay.
We'd love for you to speak directly to our viewers, and this is where you can kind of blast your social media, where people can find you, and anything happening in the future. So we know you're going to be participating in, the Utah pageant system, right?
Yes.
And so please advertise, put yourself out there.
Thank you. Well, again, hello everyone to watching Contestera Pageantry, to all the viewers. I've gotten so much love ever since I started my pageant journey, most especially last year from, the fans in the Philippines. And as I take on this new stage at Miss Utah USA, I hope that you're still with me, and I still hope that you can come to support me no matter what. I don't take that lightly. The presence of the people who gives me that support is something that I would carry with me the whole time, even after the pageant. So I'm hoping that you still continue to support me. Follow me on my Instagram at Jet Hammond, and you would get lots of updates in the near future about the upcoming pageant.
Thank you so much, and it's been such a pleasure to have you with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Ayce.
And to all of our viewers, please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that we can continue to bring content like this to pageant lovers across the world. This has been Ayce with Contestera Pageantry. With all my love, we hope to see you again.